Stephen, we've been talking about Patrick Lencioni's work around the five dysfunctions of teams. And you've talked about the five elements which are really critical to get right in order to have a high performing team. We're going to focus today on trust. Tell us about the role that trust has in creating a high performing team.
Alex Lencioni defines trust as the base level of high performance. So in his model, trust is the element that builds, everything is built upon. So when you think about trust, it's really difficult to try and define it because people experience trust differently. So for me, a starting point in a team is to everyone get on the same page about what trust means for them. And once we have an agreement, now we can start exploring where trust is working and where it isn't working and what that gap is, because that's our focus area as a team.
Okay, so it's about identifying gaps in trust. How do you go about it? But I guess more importantly, once you've identified it, how do you go about closing those gaps?
Yeah, Alex, in a team, you need to identify from the gaps who's contributing to it because it lives in the team. Trust lives in the team. So I use a model by Charles Green called the trust equation. And he talks about trust in two areas, how we extend trust and how trustworthy we are. Because if you can get an assessment in your team around how people extend trust to each other and how trustworthy they are, there will be the gaps you'll identify, and now you can start focusing on growing those.
And how would you involve your team in that as well? Because it strikes me that's really important to have them engaged in that process rather than you doing it separately as a leader in isolation.
Yeah, so from an extending trust, I would give the team two ways to look at it. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Cats, they're cautious. You call them, they're going to look at you, want to know what you're doing. Cats need evidence before they come to you. So we can extend trust by how we need evidence. Whereas, you can look at it as someone like a dog person who dogs are they're there, they're your best friend, want to help out. So we immediately trust. And there's no right or wrong, but just getting your team to understand how they extend trust to each other. Do they need evidence or do they immediately trust each other?
So I'm picking up a couple of really important things here. One, do it with your team so that everybody's involved with it. Two, maybe use a simple model and some metaphors to help people understand the difference in the way that people are different in the way that they look at trust. And thirdly, then identify some gaps and consider what it is you need to do to build and close those gaps. So in effect, you work directly on trust per se as one of the elements of your high performing teams.
Alex, spot on. And the other big area is trustworthiness, and we need to look about ourselves and how trustworthy are we as individuals. Our character and our competence are very important, and we need to be able to give each other feedback on growing those areas.
Okay, great. So opening up the dialogue around trust is the basis to this whole model. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.